Today we're going over how to grow your business with Pinterest as a brand photographer. If you're looking for a way to get new clients without spending all day on social media, Pinterest could be the perfect platform for you. And before we get started, in case you're interested, I offer a DIY Pinterest course or done-for-you Pinterest services on my website. Okay, so why Pinterest? Pinterest is the perfect way to reach new clients without the social media hamster wheel. It's a visual search engine, not traditional social media, so the work you put in can last for months or even years. You don't have to film yourself unless you really want to, and you can batch pin several days at a time. Here's how Pinterest marketing works for brand photographers. Pinterest is a great platform to drive traffic to free educational or nurturing content like blog posts, client galleries, or lead magnets, and act as the first step in your funnel. Here's how a Pinterest sales funnel looks. So you'd start with your eye-catching Pinterest pins, and those go to helpful blog posts or pages, and then from there, maybe you have a free lead magnet or service guide, and then you can send some nurture emails and hopefully get clients and sales from there. Someone finds your blog posts or photos on Pinterest, they click through and discover you through your website. They may save your pins for later, sign up for your pricing or services guide, or even reach out to you to learn more about your photography services, all because you started with free value on Pinterest. My 2X method for Pinterest. For creative service providers, I like to use my 2X method. That means there will be two sides to your content strategy for Pinterest, educational and promotional. That means creating both educational, nurturing blog posts, as well as linking to past client work or service pages. Think of Pinterest as a sales funnel. First, you want to choose where your traffic will go, whether it's a blog post, a freebie, a client gallery, or a service page. Make sure your content solves a problem or answers a question. This will inform your keyword research. Include a strong call to action on each page with the next action you want someone to take, such as filling out your inquiry form or signing up for a free lead magnet. Okay, what do you need in place in order to get started? I always recommend having your own website and domain name, a Pinterest business account with your domain claimed for analytics, at least 10 published blog posts or pages on your website, and ideally a mix of educational blog posts and pages that showcase your client work. Okay, now we're going to go over how to do keyword research in 3 different ways, including 2 free options and 1 paid option. Starting off with using the Pinterest search bar, so you can just come to pinterest.com, your homepage, and just come up here to search icon. So as a brand photographer, you're going to go and look for certain keywords related to brand photography or business photography, headshots, something like that. Just kind of brainstorming what types of keywords not only you would use to describe your services, but what words would a potential client use to describe when they're looking for basically brand photography. So I'll just start with brand photography first as a general one. So I'm just going to start slowly typing brand photography. And then as I do that, Pinterest is going to autocomplete and show me these different suggestions. So there's brand photography inspiration, brand photography ideas, brand photography style guide, mood board, guidelines, poses, aesthetic. There's also some accounts that are being suggested here, but we're really looking at the keyword phrases. So in this case, some of these are fairly broad. I would maybe go for maybe brand photography poses could be an interesting one. And we're kind of thinking about what could we use to describe either a client gallery and have that on a separate page that we can link to, or potentially a blog post that could be educational or nurturing for our clients. Okay, so 100 personal branding photo shoot poses. That would actually be a good blog post to potentially do something like that. There's also 6 must-have images for your next branding shoot. That would be another one where you could really feature your own photos in here, and then of course have a call to action at the end to reach out to you about your services. Must-have photos for every brand photo shoot. That would be another one. 5-step branding photo shoot checklist by a luxury photographer. How to plan a branding photo shoot. Oh, brand photo outfit ideas. That's another one that could be very interesting. Ultimate branding photo shoot guide. that could probably be either a blog post or even a free lead magnet. Oh, what to wear for your brand photo shoot. That also seems like a good one. There seem to be a lot surrounding ideas, outfits, inspiration. Here's small business photo shoot inspiration. And of course, you could use your own photos as the inspiration or the outfit ideas within the blog post and then link to your individual pages. So I would recommend having lots of different pages that you can link to on Pinterest because Pinterest likes having lots of URLs. You don't really want to pin, the same thing 10 times a day. Even if you have, like a portfolio page, if it's just one page, you don't really want to pin that more than like a few times per day. But you certainly don't want to just keep pinning the same thing over and over or just like only pinning to your homepage. Ideally, you want each of your client galleries or portfolio pages to have its own separate page. So you would have, your main portfolio page, and then that is going to link to the individual client photo shoots, at least to the extent that it's kind of like a sales page for you. So it's not literally the client gallery that you would present to your client, but it's just an individual portfolio page where you're saying, here's the client, here's what we did, here's the photos, maybe here's kind of a description or a little backstory. If you happen to have a client testimonial, you can put it on there. It's almost like a case study. And then you can link to those individually, and it tends to perform a lot better on Pinterest when you have lots of different pages instead of just pinning to the same thing over and over. And then you can also, of course, pin to, these educational blog posts. And within the blog posts, you could also link to some of your client galleries. So it's just, giving people different options to see your work and, different calls to action to, work with you or get your pricing guide. If you have an investment page, you could link to that and things like that. Okay, so those could be some different blog post ideas. That can also give me ideas for different keywords to try searching for. So it seems like some people are calling this personal branding instead of just brand photography. Or some people said small business photos. So I'm going to see if anything pops up for that. So small business photos, that's an interesting idea. Okay, small business photo shoot ideas. That could definitely be a blog post, and you could definitely feature your own work there. Clothes, jewelry. I mean, you can certainly like reword these so it actually makes sense. For women, baking. I mean, if you're kind of doing brand photography as, for small business owners, maybe baking doesn't make sense unless it does make sense for you. I think product photography would probably be a little bit of a different service, but it's up to you and what you're offering. But I'm going to assume you're mostly taking photos of people. So it's probably more along the lines of personal branding rather than these like product photography ideas. So only use the keywords if it actually makes sense for what you're selling. But in this case, I can see what comes up for small business photo shoot ideas. Okay, so there's definitely some idea blog posts here, poses, more poses, wardrobe tips or outfit ideas. That would be a good one. Branding photo shoot checklist. That one I feel like you could definitely do as a free lead magnet, is have some type of checklist. Okay, the sponsored ones, that's not necessarily, the same keyword. It's just because they're paying for an ad. But okay, creative branding photo shoot shot list. That's an interesting one, and that could also potentially be a lead magnet. What to wear. Okay, some of the same ones are showing up. How to plan. Oh, props. That's a pretty interesting one, and that's unique compared to some of the other ones. Like, we definitely could do something for outfit ideas, posing ideas, and then prop ideas could still be a good one. Whether it's a laptop, a coffee mug, a latte, anything like that. Like, having ideas for what people should actually bring to their photo shoot could be helpful. And it's not just, what content could do well on Pinterest. It's also like, what questions are your clients going to have before they work with you? And someone might be wondering, like, what do I need to bring to my brand photo shoot? Like, do I need to bring my own props, or do you provide props? Do I need to bring my own laptop, or do you have, props like that available? Like, is there some kind of desk available? Like, are there plants, or do I need to bring everything to the photo shoot? So any potential questions that you tend to hear from your clients or you think they might be asking, or that you're seeing on places like Pinterest or Google or Reddit, or you're seeing where people are actually asking these questions about your type of service, or your real clients are asking these questions. How can you create content for that? So you can certainly use keywords to try to create content, or you can kind of take some of the questions and information that your clients are already interested in, and then promote that on Pinterest. And maybe there's some keywords that are relevant, or maybe it's just something that your clients would be interested in. So it doesn't always have to be based on a specific keyword phrase, but it can be helpful. But you can do kind of a mix of both. And then another option for finding some content ideas is Pinterest Trends. This is trends.pinterest.com. So it'll show you some different trending content ideas, and these tend to be seasonal or holiday content. So if that's relevant to what you're doing, you can, try to create content about that about 2 to 3 months in advance of the holiday or season. If it's not relevant, that's fine. Maybe Easter or St. Patrick's Day is not super relevant as a brand photographer, but if it is relevant, or you did, themed sessions, anything like that, then you could certainly try to create content for that. There's also shopping trends, search trends, editor's picks, cultivating whimsy, incredibly chic things, take us back to 2016. So if you had anything, any photo shoots that you've done that are related to these topics, a pop of cool blue, or also Pinterest predicts. If you have anything relevant for these kinds of themes, then you would definitely want to share that, because this content could do really well on Pinterest. It's what's already trending. So if you need to kind of prioritize like what content to create first and you don't know where to start, then if you happen to see something that is already trending on Pinterest, like there seems to be a lot of lace content. So if you had a photo shoot that was about lace or about, neo-deco, maybe that's something that you want to prioritize sharing first, because it's already trending on Pinterest. So it's more likely to do well. Okay, and then you can also search for trends. So let's go along the lines of maybe the outfit ideas and see kind of what comes up. If we do like brand photo shoot outfits, let's see. Okay, so sometimes they don't all show up. It looks like there's photo shoot outfits or family photo shoot outfits. There's also brand photo shoot ideas, but it's not necessarily, let's see. Yeah, okay. So it's not showing me the brand photo shoot outfits, but it is showing this broader one. And I can certainly try to search for the specific keywords with other methods, but Pinterest Trends kind of has some of these broader ones. But the benefit of Pinterest Trends is that it'll tell you how popular these keywords are relative to each other. So this one's kind of in like the 70s, the 60s, getting up to the 80s. This one's actually fairly consistent year round. So this is a pretty good evergreen keyword. Now for this one, I would say this one is fairly broad. So maybe that's something like a board title if you have photo shoot outfits, and then you can just share, all your client photos that have outfits in them or outfit ideas, or if you have blog content about that. But as far as a blog post title, I probably wouldn't do just photo shoot outfits as the blog post title because it's too broad. Ideally, you'd have a few words. I try to go for like 2 to 4 words for a keyword phrase, but something like this would be more of like a board title. For an actual blog post title, you're probably going to have, a few words, like more words than this. And maybe it's like, 5 brand photo shoot outfits for small business owners, something like that, where it's a little more specific, and you can certainly add words before and after the phrase as long as it contains this. Now, in this case, this one's very broad, so I'd probably want to go something more specific. Now, some of these, like senior pictures outfits, snow day outfit, that's probably not relevant to what you're doing. So it's not about just, using any keywords that show up. You really want to think about what type of audience are you trying to reach? Who is your ideal client? If you don't do senior pictures, you're only doing photos for small business owners, then definitely keep that in mind and don't go after a keyword that is the wrong audience. And it will tell you the general demographics and gender for these keywords. So this one, photo shoot outfits, it's interesting that the vast majority of people are actually in the 18 to 24 range. So you might see that and realize, oh, that's not quite the audience you were going for. Maybe this is actually, people in high school or college looking for outfit ideas for a photo shoot, and that's not quite what you want. You can also see the popular pins on here, and if this is kind of lining up with what you expected, then maybe it's a good keyword. But if you're looking at this and you're like, oh, this is, a little more editorial, or it's not quite, small business owners, if that's like your target audience, then maybe this isn't actually a keyword that you want to go for. But you could try something else, like, let's see, those are probably not the right audience. If I do like brand photos, okay, so in this case, I can do brand photo shoot ideas. That could definitely be a board title. I might be able to do a more specific variant of that for a blog post, maybe. It is fairly broad though. Okay, and then you can also compare them, like photo shoot outfits. This one is in about the 70s in popularity out of 100, and brand photo shoot ideas is in around the 20s. So that does mean it's still getting searches, but it's not as popular as this one. However, if you have around like 3 or 4 words, maybe 5 words, and there's still people searching for it, that can actually be a little easier to rank for, because typically the longer keywords are a little less competitive. So you might be a little more likely to rank for those versus the super, super broad keywords. So something like this, brand photo shoot ideas, that could be your main keyword for, a blog post, but your actual title on Pinterest or the blog post title itself, you're still going to want to get more specific, and maybe you add a number or a how-to or some text after the keyword just to make it a little more enticing for someone to actually click on. As long as it contains the keyword phrase, that's fine. You can add other words around it. Okay, fun branding photo shoot. That's an interesting one. You can always take something like brand photo shoot ideas. That one's fairly broad, but if you have some type of angle like a fun branding photo shoot or a bold branding photo shoot or like luxury brand photo shoot, that's always a way that you can kind of add an angle or add like your style of photography and make it a little more specific, so you can kind of reach a more specific audience that you're trying to go for. So those two keywords are actually fairly similar in the search volume. So fun branding photo shoot could definitely be a good title. I would say maybe for a portfolio page, if you had a particular client gallery where it was, just fun props, confetti, cakes, something like that, then maybe you would actually title your portfolio page as a fun branding photo shoot for, Casey or whatever your client's name is, but you just have the keyword and then, maybe add your client's first name just so in case you ever have like more than one to do. But yeah, that's a way to kind of incorporate the keywords into something like a portfolio page. Okay, and then again, you can see the demographics, comparing these different keywords, and then looking at these popular pins. So maybe this one is not actually relevant to, brand photography. This one seems more relevant. And then the fun branding photo shoot, I can also click on this and see what comes up. Okay, this one seems pretty relevant if this is actually your style. Yeah, 10 branding images every small business owner needs. That one looks pretty good. Like if this is your particular style where it's fun, then you could certainly do a mix of blog posts with text like this. And also you could share some client galleries like this, whether it's individual photos or like a grid like this. You could do, 2 or 4, or this one's 9. That would be an interesting way to really get more reach out of every client project. So instead of just sharing it like one time and then never again, you could have a version that has text on it. This one's like vertical text. There's some different styles. This one has numbers. And then there's also like every individual photo could be shared, as well as you could have some kind of grid like this and then do all kinds of variants so every pin can be a little bit fresh. This one has 4 photos, so it's like the same client project, but you can really repurpose it and get so much use out of it just by rearranging it a little bit, or doing the individual ones, or kind of turning some of it into a blog post. If, you know, maybe it's more of like ideas or outfit ideas, like you could be linking to some of the same projects within your blog post, but it's new content on Pinterest because you happen to turn it into a blog post as well. And then the last method is to use a paid keyword research tool like PinClicks or Pin Inspector. This one is PinClicks, and I like it because it tells you the actual search volume, which can be helpful. So I could just search for, you know, similar keywords. Like if I want, maybe I want to see if anything shows up for like luxury brand photographer, luxury brand, or brand photos maybe. Okay, so there's no Pinterest search suggestions. I can check this and see if it changes. Okay, yes, it does. If you're using PinClicks, you might want to, you know, try checking and unchecking some of these boxes. I'm not using the categories because that would limit it even more, but just these 2 options here. So luxury brand photo shoot. So it does seem like luxury brand photos didn't show up exactly, but photo shoot did show up, and 645 searches a month is not bad, especially when you're considering, you know, selling a high ticket service where, you know, getting 1, 2, 3 clients could definitely give you an ROI on your Pinterest efforts. You know, you're not going for like super high traffic. Instead, you're going for really high intent of like, are these people that you're reaching actually looking to book a brand photographer? Okay, so if I click on this, then yeah, luxury brand photo shoot. So if you had something related to this, you could use that as a keyword. You know, you could use that in your boards, your board descriptions, your pin descriptions, something like that. And it does look like most of these are individual photos. I mean, you could try doing a blog post, but that is something to keep in mind, is whatever shows up on here, it seems like people are expecting to see individual photos rather than a blog post. Now, sometimes if you pull one of these up, let's see, what about studio branding photo shoot? Okay, that's another pretty good keyword, and that actually has 4,000 people searching for it. But again, this is individual photos, or sometimes some of these kind of like grid posts, but it does seem like it's not really blog posts versus like must-have photos. Let's try to look up some poses and see what comes up. So if we do photo shoot poses. Okay, photo shoot poses. So this one might be more general, but I can see like 210,000 searches is a lot. So that does seem like it's a lot broader. Okay, yeah, these are not just brand photos. However, it might be still relevant as like a board title or something, but I think you'd probably want to get more specific if you were doing an actual blog post title or something like that. Let's see, maybe photography poses for women. Okay, and I am still seeing the photos. You definitely want to keep searching, like, okay, how to pose. That's interesting. I'll try to search for that. You'd want to keep searching to find like what actually could work for a blog post, and it's not only the photos that are showing up. How to pose for pictures. Okay, here's one. How to pose for pictures. Now, this might not be the right audience, but this is an example of this could definitely be a blog post. It has 130,000 people a month searching for it, which is a lot. And you can see there is text on here. There's also a few videos. I typically don't do a lot of videos on Pinterest, if any, because they don't really get traffic to your website as well as actual blog posts do. But yeah, some of these do have text because they're linking to blog posts. So this would be a good example of something that it's not just an individual photo, rather you could have an educational post for this type of keyword. All right, so I hope that was helpful. If you're interested in working together, I offer a DIY Pinterest course or done-for-you Pinterest services on my website. Let's get your content working for you 24/7.